Hi there, my name's Paulie and welcome to this video. In this video I'm going to show you how to use a PA amplifier as a guitar amplifier. Now I've seen a lot of forums and things out there, people are asking the question, can I use a PA amplifier as a guitar amplifier? Can I hook my effects console up to a PA amp? Can I run my pedal board into a PA amp? And the simple answer to the question is yes, you can. There will be a few things you need to follow, and you'll need to look at your entire guitar rig slightly differently to what you normally do as far as you know, your amplifier and pedal board setup and whatnot. But it's pretty straightforward. Now before I get too much further into this, there'll be some people out there who probably won't like, you know, this whole concept and will probably want to flame me for it. And to be quite honest, I'm only putting it out there so people have another option, you know, to pursue with their guitar rig and whatnot. I understand how tube amps work, and I understand about output tube distortion and things like that. So I know that you're not going to get that with this rig. And I want everybody else to know, you will not get output tube distortion with a solid state PA amplifier. That's not what we're really trying to achieve. What we're trying to achieve is a kind of compact guitar rig that is quickly interchangeable, so if you have a problem with your PA amp, you can pull it out, stick another one in, and you're away, you know, and the sound won't change. It'll be pretty much exactly the same, and that's the beauty of it. So basically, you want to look at your PA amplifier as the arse end of your guitar amp. It's like the power amp section of your guitar amp, except it's stereo and it's beefed up. You know, PA amps, they start pretty low power, I suppose, probably 80 watts per channel, and you've got 2 channels, and go up to thousands of watts per channel, depending on, you know, what you need. So in what I would generally use as for a PA amp for guitar would be something around a couple of 100 watts range, like 100 watts per channel. The idea is not to run the thing flat out, but actually run it rolled back a fair way, just so that you're not running it on a 100% duty cycle, so it's kind of, you know, just ticking over so that everything's happy and you're not driving it so hard that it's going to blow up. That's basically the idea of it. And you'll have a really clean sound, or dirty depending on what you put into it, but the potential is you can have a really clean sound at a very high volume if that's what you need. So let's get into it. Let's have a look at the amp. I'll show you how to hook up an effects console to it. I'll show you how to hook it up to a pedal board and what you need to do to the pedal board to actually make it happen. So let's go. So here we have the front panel of this PA amplifier. This one's a Digitech. It was a couple of $100, and it's a couple of 100 watts per channel. And basically the front panel's very plain. You have your power switch, you have your power on indicator, some protection LED indicators that indicate that the amp's shut down due to too much drive or distortion, and then you have clip LEDs that indicate that the thing is has run out of headroom and is distorting. And you have these attenuation controls, which are actually like similar to volume controls. Okay, so let's have a look at the back. So here we have the back of the amp, and starting from right to left, on this one I have a ground switch which I can turn off to prevent ground loops if it happens. I have a mode switch which is like bridge mode, stereo or parallel. I have this one set in stereo. We have a sensitivity switch. This one I have set on 0.775 volt, which is line level signal. Then we have our inputs. you've got your 6.5mm connectors for those, and then we have the XLR equivalents, and then we have our output section here, and these are Nutrix connectors. This is your channel A and B. In the middle, that's the one for bridge mode. You can also direct connect wires to these posts here. So basically what I do is I plug the Nutrix connector in like so, and the other end plugs into a speaker cab, and I run a stereo speaker cab with a divider inside the cap between the speakers. So we'll just go down and have a look at that. So that's where they're plugged in. So we've got our speakers connected and power connected, and we're going to hook up an effects console. This particular one is an old G9.2TT by Zoom, and you know, I've scratched it up and brushed the dust off it, and we'll give it a go. So basically you need two cables, two instrument cables, and we'll plug these into our inputs like so, and then we'll go to the effects console. So now we plug the other ends of our leads into the effects console. Into the outputs, the right and the left. And for this we make sure that our gain switch is turned up to the +4 on this one, and we're ready to go. Okay, so power up your effects console, hook up your input lead here, and then we need to turn the attenuators on the amp down to the appropriate level, or up to the appropriate level. So probably start off with your attenuators turned reasonably low to begin with, and we'll play it and see what happens. Okay, so the attenuators are adjusted down, so we're not going to blow anything up. I'll turn the volume down on the Zoom, turn the power on the PA amp. The speakers I'm using are a couple of Celestion Vintage 30s, if I haven't mentioned that already. And then we just start playing, and we'll see what happens. As you can see, the volume level's pretty good. The attenuators are way down at like around 9 o'clock, so that's pretty low level. So we should be right. So we can turn it up. I'll turn it up to like 12. So as you can hear the bit of noise coming out of the effects console. That's plenty of volume, that's heaps. You'd be able to gig with this rig, no worries at all. And in fact, I've rigged with something very similar, or gigged with something very similar in the past, so at different times. So yeah, that's pretty much how you do it. And you know, you can select all your different things. So there you have it. That's how you hook an effects console up to a PA amplifier and use it as a guitar amp. So next we'll connect up to a pedal board, and I'll show you what's got to happen with that. So when I run the pedal board, and this is actually what I use for a live rig, this setup I'm about to show you. I use an Alesis MIDI Verb 2 for chorus, and I actually use the output from the MIDI verb as my volume control. You could just as easily use something on your pedal board like a graphic equalizer, like a Boss graphic equalizer or something like that as your volume control, or another type of effects unit that has a volume on it. A lot of the Alesis stuff have this particular setup with the input, mix and output. I've got a Microverb 4 and it's got a similar setup. So I have this on all the time, set on 61, which is my favourite chorus setting, and I turn the attenuators all the way up. Okay, I'll swing it around and I'll show you the back and I'll show you how I hook it up. So what we need to do, we need to hook up two of these little fly leads up to our outputs on our, well, mine's the MIDI verb, yours could be some other effects unit, and plug them into the inputs of the power amp. Then we take our leads that come from our pedal board and we plug them into the input of our unit that we're using as our final preamp, I guess you'd call it. So then we'll go to the pedal board. So now we plug the other ends of our leads into the pedal board, and I'm plugging into a RV3 because that's my reverb, and all we have to do is turn the power on and we're ready to go. Now this is my pedal board and yours doesn't need to be near this complicated to make this work. I'll go over what you actually need to do to make it work properly directly after I give the demo, I guess. Okay, this is my pedal board. I'm not trying to frighten you or anything. You don't need to run all of this to use a PA amplifier. The only one additional thing you'll need is a graphic equalizer pedal. A, to boost the signal to the point where the PA amplifier can be driven properly, and B, to shape your tone to something that is pleasing to your ear. So other than that, you build up your effects in the same kind of way. It's just that the graphics pedal is going to have to lay somewhere in there, probably after your signal processing or waveform processing pedals, and before your modulations and delays and reverbs and things like that. So generally it lays somewhere in here, and that's actually what's going on here. It's just the cables are routed all around the place to what suits me ergonomically, I guess. But generally you'd have your reverbs and delays and modulations, then you would have your graphics pedal, then you would have things like your overdrives and distortions and things in this area. And then, you know, the usual thing, like people often put fuzz pedals first and wah-wah pedals near the front of the effects chain. So you could literally run just the graphic equalizer on its own, and you would have you could have a jazzy kind of tone. You could put a reverb pedal after it. You could put an overdrive pedal before it, and you would have a clean sound, a dirtyish kind of sound, overdriven sound, and some reverb. And you know, you could probably do a gig on that if you wanted to. So with 3 pedals, you've got a few sounds. You can sculpt the sound a lot more than with the graphics than what you can with the EQs on an amplifier. And yeah, you can control the volume from the PA amp itself. So if you have any questions, please fire away in the comments section below. Please rate the video and give me any feedback. I enjoy feedback, negative, positive or otherwise. And have a great day. I'll see you later.